have you been suffering from brain fog, like a lack of mental acuity, a lack of mental vibrancy, where you just suffer from some kind of a confusion, or it's hard to recall names? If so, today we're lucky because we have with us Bill McKenna. He's a speaker, an author, a teacher, and a trainer, and he also is the creator of something called Cognomovement. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can jump onto the interview. I'll leave a link up above, and you can see where he talks all about Cognomovement. But in this today, he's going to talk about specifically how to address brain fog and where it comes from. So, Bill, it's always an honor having you on the show, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. So, I want to jump right in. Brain fog, I had no idea, right? I experienced it, but I couldn't find my way out, and it was so bad that I kind of didn't even realize I was in it. It almost feels like kind of like a confusion or lack of motivation, but you can't really kind of see your way out. It is experienced by your thoughts are not really clear, and you can't get stuff done at the same time, and your ability to concentrate, they all get kind of affected. And I guess for me, when I ran into some different things that helped mind clear, and it happened like that, I was like, holy cow. It was like, it's like being able to breathe again. It was so, I was able to get stuff done, and your thoughts all cleared up. But
love that.
But what the realization was that there were emotional causes to brain fog, that traumas, issues in life that we hadn't fully, completely dealt with. And what happens is those constrict the energy flow in our bodies and constrict it up into our brain. Now, I know that this sounds nuts, but it became not nuts when I saw, not only I felt the effects, but we actually were able to scientifically prove it. So I'll share with you, I put together a couple of screenshots here of some of the tests that we've done. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Cognomovement is this exercise that I had developed, and it's a very simple exercise. It is a bilateral exercise with a ball, and it basically forces left-right brain coherence. And the BioWell is a piece of equipment. There is a Dr. Konstantin Kronikoff. I think he's out of the University of St. Petersburg in Russia. He's a physicist, and he was able to. He had a discovery where he basically combined Kirlian photography, which is the ability to take an image of your bioenergy field, and he combined this with Kirlian photography with Korean fingertip acupuncture. Now, this is a picture right here of somebody's right thumb, and this energy field here. Every single part of it, like say part number 1 here is your right eye. Part number 2 is your right ear. So they can tell by the amount of energy or lack of energy or absence of energy how much energy you have, and they can map your entire system, your energetic field, and every single energy channel or meridian in your entire body. So we have it's amazing, right? It was absolutely brilliant. So this physicist, he's brilliant, and he figured it out. But check it out. This is a person who had suffered with brain fog. Now, if you look here at the energy field, you can see these huge gaps.
Yeah.
All these gaps, and you can see how it's not all filled in. Now this guy had suffered guilt, and this was around a death. And now look over here at the after, basically processing the issue, the guilt with Cognomovement. This is only 15 minutes, but look at
wow.
how it filled in.
Yeah.
Now this.
And it's not just filled in; it's more vibrant too.
Correct. Down at the bottom here, you can actually see they measure energy in joules. It's a measurement of energy. It's 39 joules versus 48 joules.
Wow.
So you can actually tell how much it's 82% balanced versus 95% balanced.
So the amount of energy registered within that person's body actually increased after doing Cognomovement.
Correct. And the decrease, a corresponding decrease in the guilt, right?
Wow.
So it went from a level 9 guilt down to a 0 guilt. And in that, it was able to generate more power. But here's where this one was really super significant. I want to show you this one. This one was a gentleman. Now, this guy is in his 20s.
Okay.
He experienced very extreme brain fog, could not get anything done, and he didn't know why. And so the parents came to me. He's in his 20s, and I just started talking to him. And he started talking about how he was put into juvenile hall at, a very young age, right about that just turning teenager age. Mm-hmm. And he got put in juvenile hall, and things not only, as horrible things happen in institutions like that, but his brain is developing and he's being traumatized, right?
Yeah.
Now, subsequent to that, his parents divorced. And so here's a boy. He's now a full-grown man in his 20s, but he couldn't get anything done. And when I talked to him, he said, there was a lot of shame and humiliation. The shame, the shame of what happened to him, and those things in juvenile hall, and then also, the breakup of his parents. So we concentrated on those things, and we did the exercise, the Cognomovement exercise. And for him, we actually ended up doing multiple sessions in the same day. Typically, it's 10 to 15 minutes, but with him, we'd do a session, we'd wait 20, 30 minutes, we'd do another one. And so we did 3 sessions with this guy. So it was very significant. We kept after it working. But look at this. This is before. And mind you, I should explain this report. So this report right here, here's the amount of joules going up the side. So it goes from no joules up to 7.5. Now, every single one of these numbers down here is, for example, the heart, the colon, the pancreas, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, all these 32 different organs, the adrenals. And each one of these that is lit up, highlighted, these are out of balance. So you have left energy, right energy, or sympathetic, parasympathetic. And these are the ones that are lit up are the ones that are out of balance. Here, like number 13. This is not in balance. If you look over here, this is in balance, right? Okay. But this is obviously the energy is over in the blue or the right-hand side.
Yep.
Now, so this guy, we exercise with him and we alleviate this shame and humiliation, so he's no longer feeling it. He literally has got himself kind of emotional amnesia. Look what happens. here all the imbalances, all of those imbalances, except for three, gone. And look at the amount of energy that he came up. Look,
Wow.
here's to go back to the before. Oops. Here's a before.
Yep.
There's after. Before, after. It's every damn, look across the board, all of your organs get affected. When you think you're suffering, right, with shame and humiliation or grief or guilt or these type of things, and you say, oh, it's no big deal, I can handle it, I'm tough, I'll muscle it out. Guess what? No, it's every single organ in your body is constricted. So when you release that, imagine all that energy is actually now accessible by your brain.
Yep.
And not only emotionally have I created the amnesia where it's gone, a lot of people have this feeling in their body as they're doing the exercise. They actually literally feel a release in the body. So this is a good example of what happens to our organs and what the underlying cause is. We can now measure it. Here's a person, they had stress and confusion. Now they didn't know stress and confusion and brain fog are, you can have them and not have brain fog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's just a person that we just helped with their stress and their confusion. And you can see how small the little dots are, and the amount of dots is how much energy. And this over here is after, right? And there's much greater size. This was a financial stress. Now, this person knew what happened to them. And this is a woman, and you can see here clearly, right? Here,
oh yeah.
Look at how jacked up it is. And look at how afterwards, right? It all filled in. So this was another kind of, and what's happening is the person emotionally, they no longer feel it. They can remember it, but they don't feel it, and basically the fog lifts. So those are now. I'll just show you another one here. This is a person. They never talked about brain fog, but your emotions are always affecting your body. And she's this one here. She had resentment for her spouse, and this is before Cognomovement, and look at what happened after.
Wow, that's a huge jump in energy.
It is ridiculous. She was able to let go of the resentment, and it wasn't like she was trying. With Cognomovement, we have her actually just resent the guy. Yeah, he sucks, and we have her fully resent him, and then her body forces with this exercise, it forces the issue to be released. So we're not telling her don't hate him, he's okay. I'm saying yes, hate him, he's terrible. And the exercise basically makes it process. And the benefit to her is she gets all of her energy, right?
Yeah. Rather than trying to suppress a very real emotion, something that she was really feeling. Stand in it, feel it.
Stand in it, feel it, and that basically, and Cognomovement will end up taking care of it for you. Yeah, so it is. Brain fog is real. The issue, the thing is that we forget. All we know is we're there. We're kind of in this fog, but we really don't remember how the heck did this happen to me? Well, a death of a loved one that you feel responsible for somehow, how would you know that death is connected with this fog? It's just nobody really realizes it.
Right.
So, but it is. So you can, if you spend a little bit of time and go back to when you feel like, hey, this is about where it happened, there you can process it. There's another way to process it as well, and that is to focus on your brain fog and notice where you feel it in your body. You may feel it in your heart or in your stomach or around your belly button, and you just focus.
I think that when you worked with me and you were helping me through it, if I remember correctly, this was maybe about 2 months ago, where I noticed that I was feeling it was, in my head right here, like in the center of my head, and then also I felt it inside of my chest. And I know that when you and I were working with it, what we found is that it related back to grief for me, a death of somebody that I cared for very much. So, I just as a relation, how would somebody who's watching this right now, sorry to get you off track, and I want to go back to where you were, but how would you tell them to get in touch with that feeling? Like, how would they do that? How would they know that they were in touch with it?
Okay, so one of it's fairly simple, and is you notice the brain fog, and this is how it feels. This is how it feels. You close your eyes, and you notice where you feel it in your body. Maybe it's here, maybe it's here. Wherever you're feeling it, and then you completely relaxed, and this is just as natural as the day is long. Is you kind of focus on the area of your body that you feel it, and you ask to see a picture of what was the incident. What was the incident? And you just completely relax and let any photo come to mind, like an image. Or maybe some people are more like, it's Uncle Joe, or or they'll smell something that reminds them. So you utilize your senses. The most common one is just to kind of go back and relax and say, I want to just kind of see an image of what this feeling in my chest is all about, and that's kind of one way to really access it. Yeah. Now, if you cannot access it, you're just, man, that's not my gig. What you can do is to focus on the area. I feel it in my chest. Okay, feel it in your chest. You grab your Cognomovement ball and you do the actual exercise focused on your chest. Just keep focused on it until it goes away. So Cognomovement is really the opposite of everything we've been taught, right? It is what you do is you actually focus on the issue. You focus on the feeling. You're not avoiding it. You're completely feeling it. And you're doing this bilateral exercise across the center line of the body. What it does is the ball creates activity in the right side of the brain. The left side of the brain creates activity with the colors and symbols, and the cross body movement creates movement in the data left part of the brain to right. It crosses data across the corpus callosum, and also there's more to it than that. There's different eye positions and how they are forcing you to activate certain parts of the brain.
Yeah, and anybody that's probably watched this far probably has, I think that they probably either have an acceptance or an openness to this type of an idea, or they have an understanding. But just as an example with what you're talking about, like how emotions, how our thoughts, our beliefs, trapped emotions can affect our physiology, is just think about like if you were standing at a conference with 1,000 people, and all of a sudden somebody came up to you and asked you to go speak. Like, I'm sorry, we have somebody didn't show up. Can you please speak today? And now suddenly you have to prepare yourself to stand in front of 1,000 people and talk. All it is it's an idea of a future event that hasn't even happened yet. But because your brain has processed this thought or this belief about the future event. Now all of a sudden you feel a tightening inside of your chest and perhaps a flush and a sweating. So that is a direct representation of a physical, an actual physical response to just an idea, a belief, a thought. So I totally believe that, you know, by working with trapped emotions and thoughts, that we can have a profound impact on our physiology. You know, like you said something I thought that was really interesting is you were talking about when you're using the ball, how you do the opposite of kind of what we're trained to do. And that's that you spend time inside of the emotion, inside of that feeling, inside of that, you know, it's probably kind of yicky to stay there. And it's so common for us when we're facing something difficult, or when we've gone through something traumatic, or when we're struggling internally with something that happened, we want to avoid the feeling. And that's why so many people turn to stimulants or drugs or, you know, alcohol and all that stuff, is to avoid, to do everything we can to stay away from it. And what you're saying is to heal, dive into it, go full bore, jump into it. And especially if you have a tool that you can use like the Cognomovement ball.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you used a perfect example. I mean, I think almost everybody who has, you know, even casual drinking, you know, how many people have had a rough week and they're like, you know what, I'm going to get home and I'm going to have a beer, you know, right? Yep. I'm going to have a few beers, you know, and you what it is you're like, you know, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I just want to let it go and relax, right?
Yeah.
And so it's absolutely, and different people do it in different ways. Some people do it through shopping. Some people go to Disneyland, an amusement park. I mean, seriously, you know, and or maybe it's a drink, you know, whatever. But it's it's an avoidance of some sort.
Yeah. Which is totally understandable. I think it's human nature. Like you're in an uncomfortable position. How do we get out of this? Like we don't want to stay there. We don't want to stay in that uncomfortable place.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it gets easier than popping a beer, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you a story about also because this is all about brain fog and what we can do to help, right?
Definitely.
So brain fog. Now, one of the other things that I ran into, and I ran into this because one of my practitioners, her name is Claudette Boulware. She's out of the Glendora area, and I got on the table. She had gotten certified in, I think this is called Biofield tuning. Mm-hmm. And this Biofield tuning is, I didn't know what to think of it, but I got on her table, and she, you know, would hit these are tuning forks, and they generate a certain vibration. And she would kind of go, you know, from several feet out away from me, and then go in towards my body. So I just sat there, didn't really feel like anything, right? I was on the table and she did this thing. Well, anyway, what the interesting thing is, as I sat there, you know, you can hear the vibration. And when she would go through from outer, which they say where your life begins is several feet away, you're in your energy field, and then they start coming to you, where the traumas get stuck in the energy field, and you can actually hear the thing go, you know, you're like, huh, that's weird, and then and then basically she'll sit there at the and the thing goes away, and then it comes right in, right? No disturbance.
Wow. Okay.
Well, anyway, for me, you know, we did this process, and I remember the next day, you know, I woke up and I was like, you know, I could clean the yard and pull the weeds and everything. It was no effort. It was like the brain fog had lifted. So it was another method of the same things I wasn't paying attention to that had happened in my life that were sitting out there sucking my energy, right? And, you just had no idea that it was happening or what it was. So It was another wonderful method to do this. You can get books on it. You can go to one of the practitioners and that's possible. You can get the tuning forks and everything that you need for that. It's best to go to a practitioner on that.
Yes.
But anyway, I thought I'd share that because I wanted to give your audience as many tools as possible to help them.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bill. I think that that's tremendously powerful, especially in an age where everybody's looking for the magic bullet that comes from a bottle, or a pill or a can or whatever. To be able to, there's layers of healing. As I've looked into brain fog and how to create more energy and vibrancy inside of a body, there's layers of healing. There's the physical aspect, what we do with our bodies and how we move. There's the supplementation and the nutrition and our diet and the diet of the food that we're putting inside of our mouth, and then also the diet of what we're allowing ourselves to consume from the world around us, be it music, television, friends. But then there's this core, this root, where all of everything that stems out from outside of that, it all builds off of that core, that foundation. And I think that is what you are talking about. You're talking about the root, the core, the foundation of how we show up inside of our lives and the decisions that we make. And I just want to, first of all, say thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And then, for the audience that's wondering, I want to talk to Bill, I want to see what this Cognomovement is about, how do they get in touch with you?
Oh, great. Thanks. So Cognomovement, COGNOMOVEMENT.com. I have seminars. They're scheduled over weekends typically to make it easy for people. And also they can schedule a session with, there's practitioners, myself included. They're all listed on the website. If somebody would like to get sessions, that sort of thing. The Cognomovement's available on Amazon.com as well. So for people that are remote and maybe want to do it themselves.
Beautiful. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll leave links for all that below in the description, so it's easy for you guys to connect with Bill and find those Cognomovement balls. Bill, thank you so much. I'm sure that there's probably a lot more that I could ask you. Is there any parting words that you want to say to the audience before we shut this episode down?
Oh gosh, there is hope. That's that we're not definitely stuck. You're not stuck. There is something you can do, and it can go like that. If you hit the right note, meaning I hit the thing, the abortion that happened, the abuse that happened to you, so on and so forth. If you get to that issue and you process it, you'll find you're going to literally wake up the next day and it's like, what the heck happened? You literally woke up and had energy and clarity. So you're not stuck. I would encourage you to do those things, to make it better. You can get over it quickly.
Yes, beautiful. All right, Bill, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.